Thank you and welcome to the show for today. This morning, I have Janiah, Carey, PoppyTeez, and Trendsetta to discuss the Nashville Black Fashion scene. Ladies, thank you so much for joining me this morning, and thank you for coming to discuss your involvement with fashion and specifically the scene of fashion here in Nashville, Tennessee. To start off this first segment, Janiah, I want to start with you. Give me a little bit about your background and education. Just a little bit about Janiah.
Well, I'm Janiah, of course. I actually went to Hillsborough High School. I'm born and raised from Nashville. No college, but we'll get back there at some point in time.
Yeah. And Poppy?
I'm not from Nashville. I'm originally from Jackson, Tennessee. I went to a little high school called Northside. Yeah, other than fashion, I'm an award-winning international poet.
Wow. And we're going to come back to that. That's not something you just slide in. And how long have you been here in town?
8 years.
Okay, so you pretty much a Nashvilleian at this point.
Yeah.
And Trendsetta, tell me about you.
All right, I'm from Nashville. I went to Maplewood High School. I am a photographer. I do newborn photography outside of the fashion world.
And that's it, yeah. And to kind of just dive a little bit deeper into you all's early childhood experiences, Janiah, just tell me kind of, how was it at Hillsborough? What did you kind of discover about yourself as a young woman? And just kind of tell me about that high school experience.
I guess going through high school, I was just kind of finding myself, figuring out my niche. I did study health sciences at first, but now I'm in the finance world. So totally two different opposites of the career sides, but that's where I am right now.
And that's awesome. We don't have too many minorities in either of those sectors.
True.
And so now, Poppy, tell me the same thing, just kind of that high school, that early childhood look like.
So I was really bullied most of my life up until I got to high school, and I joined JROTC. Was really into drill, so got a national championship behind it, and that kind of really like brought me out my shell almost. And I don't know, I think that's kind of the starting point of like me really just not being so shy, because I was a very shy child.
And Trendsetta, yeah.
I would say I went to Maplewood, but I went to Big Picture first. So I went to Big Picture, and then it was a little different from like the normal school type of vibe. We're doing interns and stuff like that. So I feel like it was a lot for me. And then once I went to Maplewood, and that was a lot of people that I were around, my environment type of people. We don't get a lot of fashion. And so I went to that school going to Big Picture, and like I'm wearing Ann Taylor, and I'm wearing different types of names than compared to like people in my Maplewood school, and it was kind of like I felt different, very much felt different, and I felt like I didn't belong in either one, so I just had to figure out my way, and with that became Trendsetta.
Yeah. And just a random question that just popped in. When did you start to go by Trendsetta? About what year did you coin that?
I don't even know. It just like people just started calling me that. Like it all started with other people just calling me that. Like, wow, you look nice. I like that outfit. You're a Trendsetta. And it was like it just kept happening so much. I was like, I'm gonna just say my name, Trendsetta, and it stuck so much that people actually think that's my name.
But that's awesome, and especially since you got it from other people, you didn't just wake up and like, oh, okay, I'm a trendsetter. And PoppyTeez, you have the coolest name ever. And I've been reading it on our communications, and I'm like, where did you get PoppyTeez from?
It actually came from the spoken word realm. Poppy seeds are, aphrodisiac, but they're also toxics, how you make morphine. So
that's cool.
What's good for you can also kill you if you got too much for it. So it speaks more to my poetry, but yeah.
And that's awesome. and to just kind of bring back or wrap up this first segment, I want to talk about what you all saw in the fashion world growing up. Now, me, I'm an early 2000s baby, so I remember the greasy look, the latter end of the spiked hair, oh my God, the bronzer. But tell me just kind of what are the trends that you all saw in that early childhood with fashion?
Again, just like you, early 2000s as well. So of course you're growing up, you see the Chuck Taylors, you see the Huaraches and things like that. So I never really was into fashion. I would just come as myself because the way you dress expresses you, and I would just always clothes and, but now that I'm getting older and I'm seeing those different trends, still finding myself in my own fashion sense, but I do have those different types of ideas that I can grasp from other people. Like, okay, I might be able to kind of feel that out if I try it. So I'm still on my journey.
But we have basically, we saw the same thing growing up.
Right.
And in our second segment, we're going to come back, Trendsetta, and probably we're going to discuss kind of the fashion that y'all saw growing up. And then we're going to talk about just your adolescent years, some obstacles you may have faced, and how you overcame them. And I encourage our viewers to tune into the second segment of Perspectives, where we'll be discussing the Nashville Black Fashion scene.
When severe weather strikes,
These storms are closing in on the Nashville area.
turn to Fox 17 News, your code red weather station,
We can have these storms that pop up and they get very dangerous.
empowering you with information during the storm
And that is a confirmed tornado that we're talking about.
and the aftermath.
Here on Henry Place Boulevard, complete devastation.
Fox 17 News code red weather.
Your first line of defense when severe weather threatens.
The National Desk, a network of nearly 4,000 local journalists cover America's news now.
These chemicals are not going to leave the environment.
Provides in-depth coverage, context, and clarity to major stories.
Our recall system is broken.
I'm Jan Jeffcoat. Choose America's news now. Each weekday morning from the National Desk.
The National Desk, weekdays from 6 to 8 a.m. on MyTV 30.
Decision time. Let's take you right to the action. The whole season depends on the right call being made.
We'll take the Next Gen TV.
Touchdown! The perfect play! Let's break down the X's and O's on this one.
It's simple. Develop a game plan before you buy at WatchNextGenTV.com. Lifelike video, stadium quality sound. Next Gen TV puts you in the middle of the action. Boom!
Get in the game. Go to WatchNextGenTV.com to discover how to upgrade your television experience.
Ponce Law and Fox 17 News have teamed up to reward local hometown heroes $1,000.
Thank you, Ponce Law, Fox 17, and God for this opportunity. Big things are in store in 2022.
We've honored over 20 heroes so far, but we cannot find more without your help. Go to PonceLaw.com and nominate a person, family, or an organization to be the next hometown hero. Each month, the heroes selected will be featured on Fox 17 News. Celebrate local heroes with Fox 17 Hometown Heroes, sponsored by Ponce Law.
Welcome to the second segment of the show for today. For viewers just tuning in, I'm joined this morning by Janiah, Carey, PoppyTeez, and Trendsetta to discuss the Nashville Black Fashion scene. In our first segment, we discussed the backgrounds and educations of the ladies I have with me this morning. We spoke about upbringings in Nashville, Jackson, Tennessee, different high school experiences, and we left off the first segment on discussing the early fashion trends that we saw as children and as young women, and how that influenced the fashion, the creativity that these women express today. And so thank you again, ladies, for joining me this morning, and just hopping right back in where we left off. Poppy, kind of tell me what fashion looked like as a child for you. What were your early experiences?
Oh man, I'm a 90s baby, so I love pop culture, especially like the leather and the metallic, huge Missy Elliott, Busta Rhymes type of feel, you know?
Yeah, like that sci-fi almost.
Yeah,
kind of
like
vibe.
the intergalactic, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
And Trent said, what about you?
I'm a 90s baby too, so pretty much same thing, but mine is a little bit more on the Aaliyah, like that type of vibe.
Yeah.
Very much show your skin. I love skin. I feel like every woman should show their skin. Yep.
And that Aaliyah was characterized by like the boy shorts, the
Yes,
crop tops,
yes.
Tommy Hilfiger.
Yes.
And now that all leads, now that you're seeing these icons, we named some good people, but you're seeing these women growing up. Now tell me about your teenage years. This is when you're just coming into that creativity, and just kind of tell me what that looked like, both, you know, on your journey through your creativity and what it looked like in life. Some of the things that you may have experienced or had to overcome in these teenage years. But Janiah, I'm gonna come back to you and just kind of tell me what that looked like.
So throughout high school, I was the sports girl. So I was never one that's coming in school with the cute boots and the big fur jackets, things like that. I'm sweatpants, Nike leggings, t-shirt kind of girl. And with fashion, to me, it's always about the colors. I was a colorful person growing up, and being able to put different colors together brings the style together to me. And that's what fashion is to me. You can put all kinds of pieces together, but if your colors aren't
Aligned.
Aligned. Yeah. You look like a blob of
things.
So what I've had to overcome with sports, running track, sprained my ankle, but I could never really wear tall heels. I could only wear block heels that support me, and I still do. But now I'm kind of getting into,
I love these.
getting into the stilettos, and being able to walk more and walk in my confidence, knowing that, that injury did happen, but I don't let that take me down.
And that's something that everyone needs to hear. Walk in your confidence. We're gonna highlight that a lot throughout the episode. But Poppy, now tell me kind of that same adolescence.
Oh my gosh, I probably went through every fad you can think of. As a teenager, I did it all. I had the emo fad, curves were coming in, so I wanted to show a little more skin. I wore a cat suit one day on homecoming week. Like, I shaved my hair. I went through it all. Really just trying to find myself, trying to figure out what stuck. One important thing I learned was if you stop trying to find yourself and just be who you are at that moment, it'll solve a lot of problems. So I guess it's still to this day. You never know what I might put on.
And Trendsetta kind of tell me the same thing.
I would say that I came from a single household, so it's a little different from me. Very much, you gotta find stuff that you have. My mama provided a lot, what she could, and even more. But some of those times you gotta work with what you have, and sometimes you can't get new stuff. So I did a lot of like putting stuff together. Maybe I cut this T-shirt up and make it a whole new T-shirt. I used a lot of my resources, which came about in my life now. It's pretty much I design sustainable fashion type clothes. That's my thing. I love to make trash bags out of dresses. That's big to me. And it came from nothing into something.
Yeah. And that's something huge that I think like a lot of people forget. You can always make something out of nothing. You take what you have and you fight till the end, and you have a dress out of a trash bag. And that is a great segue into just my next big open question, your early experiences in fashion. So Janiah, kind of tell me, I know you're this athlete and you're comfortable but still, dress nice, but tell me how you really got your foot in the door with fashion.
Yeah, so in high school, I know ripped jeans were a big thing, and YouTube is the notebook for everything. So I figured out how to make ripped jeans where I just kind of cutting up some jeans that I really couldn't fit, making little shorts for the summertime. 'Cause, like she said, coming in from a single household, you got to work with what you got. So I made me some nice little shorts. I kind of got into like tie-dye, figuring out how that works, things like that. So like you said, you got to make something out of nothing, and being able to make jeans and things like that. I kind of want to get into sewing, but that's another obstacle.
But were you selling the pants?
No, just making them for myself to wear. So, old jeans going into the new season, things like that, just cutting them up, making shorts for summer and things like that. So.
Yeah, and that's something that anybody at home could do. We all have pants that we don't fit no more that you can repurpose. Sustainability. Right. And Poppy, tell me your same kind of beginnings into fashion.
Oh, wow. Well, my mom has a shopping addiction, always has, my entire life. So a lot of times, what I wore came from her closet, and she wouldn't even know it was hers until she saw me wearing it.
I do the same thing.
Exactly. Small town too, so small town mindset. I lived through my TV, so anything I saw people on TV wearing, I wanted to wear. Didn't really have the funds to get it. Went in my mom's closet, found something similar, put something together, and I don't know, just in a small town, I really stood out just because of what I chose to wear. It was so different, but in retrospect, it wasn't different. It was just, we were behind the times.
And I think that's especially interesting because that small town beginning played a huge part in your creativity now. I mean, now you're like the face of, these events that you're really heralded as a creative and as a director here in town of fashion. And I think that it's extremely interesting that it was just you differentiating yourself from the other guys in Jackson, Tennessee. And Trendsetta, you kind of let the cat out the bag early. But tell me just your first real experience with trying that sustainable fashion, trying to make this dress out of a trash bag or something similar.
I don't even know how it started. I think one day we were just having a conversation, and I was like, I'm gonna see if I can make this dress out of this trash bag. And then it went from there. And my dresses are a little bit more showy, a little bit more flowy. That's my style. And it gives a leather type of feel, so it also plays into my 90s like type of vibe.
And it hugs.
Yes.
And in our third segment, we're gonna come back and just still talk about those early fashion beginnings, and ultimately we're gonna talk about the event that you guys have coming up and the Nashville Black Fashion scene. I encourage all viewers to tune in to the final segment of Perspectives, where I'll be joined by these awesome ladies to discuss the Nashville Black Fashion scene. Welcome to the final segment of the show for today. For viewers just tuning in, I am host Alana McLaughlin, and you are watching Perspectives. This morning, I'm joined by Janiah, Carey, PoppyTeez, and Trendsetta to discuss the Nashville Black Fashion scene, specifically Black Fashion Week here in Nashville. Thank you all, ladies, for joining me again. And I was about to try to introduce you all, but I just did. And in a real sense, just to hop back in, Trendsetta, we left off with you in our second segment, and we were talking about your efforts, your early beginnings with fashion, and we even included how you made a dress out of a trash bag. Yeah. And so I want to pick back up on that, and we kind of cut off in that last segment, but just tell me more about that creative process.
Yeah, so it's a little bit more like luxurious type of dresses. So they start off at $250 because trash bags are not expensive. I mean, they're not cheap. And so I have to go in and I have to structure it. Sometimes I draw out my stuff. I like for a woman to walk in and her to feel like she's the spotlight of the show. How else can you do that with a trash bag dress that looks phenomenally?
It wouldn't need to say more. And that really segues into Black Fashion Week here in Nashville, Tennessee. Now, I know that a lot of our viewers aren't familiar, and I personally wasn't familiar until I went and researched, but you all have a third annual Black Tie Affair coming up this weekend, October 21st. And I really just want to know about the beginning, the inception of these events and of Nashville's Black Fashion Week. And Poppy, I'm going to jump to you. I see you're ready to give us. So tell me about that.
Okay, so the Black Fashion Week is the largest all-inclusive runway of the South. I'm proud to say that. It's been a long time coming. We started this really just I was the brand manager of a Black-owned clothing brand, Trendsetta here. She was the creative director. And from that, we just was like, you know, we could do this, but we could do it better. Like, honestly, just because fashion is for everyone, right? And you see a lot of shows, especially in Nashville, really one niched, you know what I'm saying? One type of model, one type of designer, and we really wanted to expand really the fashion scene here because I'm tired of hearing, you know, that Nashville only caters to a certain demographic because it's completely not true. We're here, we deserve to be seen, and that's pretty much what we're doing. Third annual, we have 3 shows a year. Our third annual is one of our biggest. Our second biggest is the Royal Experience, and so that'll be in February of next year. Hint, hint.
And kind of just give me a kind of a short description of these events, like the Black Tie Affair that you all have coming up. What does that look like?
So we have 60 models.
Wow.
A lot of models. We casted 80, but we have 60 models, 15 designers, 25 vendors. We have musical performances throughout, special guests, media outlets, from everything from TV, radio, magazine, podcast, you name it. It's really like, I always say it's Block Party meets New York Fashion Week. It's strictly for the culture.
I love that. And that's awesome. And I guess tell me about the inception or the foundations that went into your first black tie event. Before I talk about the Royal Experience, I'm still on this black tie. Oh my God, the Block Party meets Fashion Week. Yeah. So just tell me about that, just getting it together, venues, getting people together that first time.
To be completely honest, we actually took an idea that was already made, and we just kind of joined in and elaborated on that, I guess you could say. It went from being in a nightclub to being at Bonobie's, which is still considered a club, but much bigger space. And we built the dressing room upstairs and brought in a stage.
Oh my God, in Bonobie's?
In Bonobie's, in Bonobie's. And I'm telling you, it was wall-to-wall packed, at least 300 people. Yeah. And we were shocked because just the year before, it was maybe 30. Wow. So just
that's nothing but God.
Nothing but God.
Wow. And so now tell me, that's our first event. What does your second one look like? The event that was right before this year's Black Tie event.
So we do a show called Break It Spring. It's literally just a spring show, kind of showcase some of your upcoming summer trends and stuff like that. A much smaller scale, but still a phenomenal show. I think we had about 40 models for that one. But that's kind of how we transferred into our third annual.
Yeah, like segue.
Yeah.
And another thing I want to hear about is the royal experience, and anyone can really hop in with that one, but
she worked with the kids.
Yeah, I'll talk about it.
And tell,
Royal experience is really for our kids, because we got to understand kids is our future. It start with them, it end with them, truthfully, honestly. We try and pour into them, so we teach them the modeling stuff. We have people we have brand ambassadors who teach them those same structures of if they were an actual model, to get the pour into them. We teach them, we have performers who are kids. Then you have your kids designers, because if you pour into them and let them know that this is okay to be this way, how many kids that can grow into something big and rule the world? That's what we want. We won't change, and that's kind of what we go for with Royal Experience.
And something particularly interesting that you told me off camera is about your background at Big Picture, and I want you to talk about your involvement with Big Picture now.
Yeah, so we actually had, it was one of our shows that we had some interns from Big Picture who we came and they did a show, they put on the show, they was designers in the show, they also was vendors, which was great because seeing that, like that internship, like I never knew I could do that as an internship.
Right,
yeah. That's cool. So I was really excited to have people who I went to school at Big Picture and then seeing them there and them prosper and them, they shooting out, they're doing shoots and going and doing other fashion shows. That's great. I love that.
And now, and on the topic of expansion, we talked about this morning. Kind of tell me about what you all have seen in the fashion scenes in other areas. I know that when we think of Black fashion, we think of the Atlantas, the Houstons, the New Yorks, and kind of tell me what you all are experiencing. Are they similar to Nashville? Do we have any? Are we running up there? Are we neck and neck with these other cities? Are Nashville models traveling to these cities? Kind of how does that collaboration look?
I wouldn't want to compare Nashville to any other city. The talent that comes out of the city can outbeat anyone, any city. It's not just Atlanta, Miami, those top cities. Honestly, with the fashion and with modeling and things like that, just in Nashville, everybody comes from different backgrounds.
Yeah.
I know I may not have the most experience than the next model, but that does not mean that my walk or her walk, his walk, won't be good on the runway. It's what you put out there and what you showcase.
You're right.
And that's what modeling is about. Yes, you are with your group, you are walking with people, whether you're in pairs or you're single, but it's what you showcase is who you are, and you put that out there on the runway with that designer's clothes on. Yeah. So that's just how that is for me.
It's really kind of self-propelled in a way.
Yeah, for sure. Again, I'm not from Nashville, but anybody who says that Nashville is not a Black fashion mecca really needs to reevaluate what they're looking at. We have 60% of our models travel into Nashville for our show. From Atlanta, Virginia, California, Philly, a lot of these places where Black fashion is prominent, they come here, right? So it's here, especially our streetwear scene. If our streetwear is, not to compare, but if it is not up there with Atlanta, it's definitely surpassed it.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
And I've even had guests on here talking about streetwear. I've had 615 Kicks, Cody Knox, and different little brands talking about that. And we're really on the come up with streetwear. And Trendsetta?
Yeah, I agree. I wouldn't compare Nashville to other cities. I think it's two completely different things. I feel like we're at the part where that people are starting to see us though. They're starting to understand that we are here, and that surprises them. And I'm glad. I'm here for it. I'm here for the change. I'm here for the growth.
And you guys are putting us on the map. Like you mentioned, you are hosting the largest fashion event in the southern United States. That is no small feat. And it's right here in Nashville, Tennessee. And to finish off this final segment, ladies, I just want you to give some words of encouragement to the young men or women or just young people who are watching this, who are going through something or overcoming adversity, whether they want to model or they just want to get out of their circumstances. What are some words of encouragement that you all can share with them?
I would say never be afraid to step out of the box. Never be afraid to put yourself out there. Because if I didn't start doing photo shoots, if I didn't start networking with people,
And
getting
jump
out there, I wouldn't be where I am today.
And Janiah, I think that that's kind of is an amazing way to end off the segment. It's all about self-love and self-care. And to our viewers, thank you for just the opportunity for another perspective. And thank you for listening to these women's stories. And to all, a good morning.